It's time for another episode of ISD Weekly. I'm Olivia Simmons.
And I'm Taylor Dykman. We have a busy show this week, covering everything from winter guard to the polar plunge and many more topics.
But we'll kick things off with teenagers' favorite way to communicate, social media. Currently, the courts are hearing several cases about how social platforms affect teenagers' mental health. If the courts are able to rule against social media companies, it could change how social media works and who can access it. We talked with students here in the district about their thoughts on social media and mental health.
A key question for these cases was whether tech companies deliberately built their platforms to hook young users. Students get first-hand experience and have an opinion on this.
I think directly they are trying to hook vulnerable or less mature and conscious people that aren't fully realizing what they are being led to.
Deliberately, it's a yes and no answer, to be honest. It depends on the platform we're talking about. Like TikTok, I feel like that's more meant to attract younger kids. Instagram, I feel like that's more to like teenage adult-ish area, because like I feel like a lot of kids want to watch like random videos like YouTube. They'll watch YouTube shorts and they're like, oh, well, it's on TikTok, so let me just get on TikTok kind of thing.
The pushing of like short form like things is like keeping your attention span there. I feel like it's directly targeted towards young people who don't have like the biggest attention span.
I definitely do. I think that again with the, like all the tracking that is allowed, which I think if more people like citizens and students and parents and teens knew what that tracking meant, I don't think they'd want to be on it. And I think that stuff's starting to come out and it scares people. So
Many students spend hours in or around social media. They are among the most knowledgeable for its effects on mental health.
I think in many ways it can be harmful in comparing yourself to others. I find myself doing that with the little social media that I do have, that I get a sense of where I should be and I feel bad for where I'm at because I'm not there.
Your algorithm, if you're liking like sad videos, then obviously you're going to get more sad videos, which will cause your mental health to deteriorate. But if you're liking happier videos, it's not going to deteriorate your mental health very much.
I feel like the way you present yourself on social media is very based heavily on your mental health, and the way that you like are affected in mental health is also very heavily impacted by social media. So I feel like there are two issues that go like often hand in hand. You like when you see one discussed, you often see like the other.
Well, I do unfortunately feel like they go out of their way to put algorithms towards a certain person. Like, you know, the tracking question when they ask you, like, can we track your data? And they want to do that because they want to cater your algorithms and your ads and all that fun stuff. But I think it does play a negative role on mental health, and I think it takes away from your freedom with what you get to watch and consume.
Being so knowledgeable with mental health comes with having experience in the downfalls, whether that be firsthand or through a peer.
I have experienced with my friends a lot of time wasted from just being trapped in a cycle of it's just so easy to go to the next thing on it and to be like, oh, I don't like this, and there's something else popping up right next ahead. And it becomes a thing of dopamine and short dopamine releases that attracts you to doing this thing over and over again that doesn't actually lead to any actual accomplishment that transfers into the rest of their life.
I do know people, I used to be in that position, not as much anymore, thankfully. I did get out of that, but I do know someone that is still affected of it, and I feel like it's what they like to like watch on there more specifically.
Yeah, I feel like I know someone who's, I mean, I don't want to be the one to like diagnose them, but I feel like I've seen them like relapse in depression after they like had like a bigger usage on social media. Like I've seen that their like screen time directly correlates with like their mood.
Yeah, I mean, I think even when I was growing up, like I'm still in Gen Z, but we're like the earlier, we might have had like Blackberries, and then we got our first iPhones. And I think eating disorder is a big one because it's like an aesthetic appeal, and I think it's coming back right now. It's not even about what it actually takes to have an ED. It's just, well, this person kind of glamorizes his lifestyle, and so you want to try to get into it, and the next thing you know, like you're restricting your food to the point where you're falling into that like obsessive compulsive ED category. And I think it's like an aesthetic appeal, and I think that one's like the first to go.
However, the question still remains whether these struggles are due to content or the way the app is developed.
I think it's a little bit of both, actually. I think both the psychological like side of just putting all your life into one place and concentrating your mind in this one aspect for a long period of time that doesn't actually amount to anything outside of that damages your mindset. And then also some of the things that post on there doesn't
I feel like it's more like what the content is posted. Of course, the algorithm of like how the videos are displayed is like part of it as well, but it's mostly the content. People are sharing their stories, which is causing other people to be like, oh, well, this sounds similar to my life, so maybe I should try this too, kind of thing.
A sense of like entertainment, but it's also like social, where like every time you like see another video, this is like someone else, so like you're like desperate to like stay on, see like more of like people. So it's like, I would say both.
I think both. I think that the way that social media has formed our brain to have like that constant, whether you could say, I think it's arguable to say if it's dopamine or not, but I think it's no matter what, it's a chemical reaction that is addictive in some form. So I think that's going to be why you even get on it in the first place. It fills boredom, it fills just space, and I don't think a lot of people that are in younger sections of Gen Z are comfortable with boredom.
Due to content or not, it is still a wonder if this is a corporation issue or more of a personal one.
I think it's a jumping off point, and there always has to be like seeds started beforehand that kind of social media nurtures and grows in a very negative way.
Both, honestly, because like people would be like, oh yeah, I relate to this kind of thing, so like we're in the same boat. Okay, I can relate with somebody, maybe I should try what they did. But some people will be like, oh, well, like, yes, it relates to me, but like I know I shouldn't do this, so maybe I shouldn't like keep liking these kinds of things and like interacting with these.
I think first it's like starts with the individual, like they already have like that seed, but then like the social media is like watering it, like causing it to like grow. Like they can like already have like an inferiority complex, and then once they see like everyone on TikTok that like, or like Instagram or social media that like seems to have like better lives than them, they can like feel worse about their inferiority complex. Because also a benefit of social media is also like con to it as well, because you like see so much information that you wouldn't have been able to see before without social media. Like for example, local news is local, you only see like the people within your town, people you know, but with social media you see like people from all around the world, so it's like you're seeing so many things at once. I don't think our brain is like necessarily like evolved to like see that, so I feel like people are like processing like a lot of information, so if they aren't already in the right headspace for that, I feel like it's difficult for them.
I definitely think both. I can see a lot of different sides with it. I think, unfortunately, because social media is so addictive that's just going to fuel a fire. I think struggling with image and things like that are natural human conflictions you have as you grow, and it doesn't stop at a certain age. Like, it's like every milestone of life, like adults and when you're older and growing, and it's not just teenagers. So I think that's going to be there, and that is manageable, but social media makes it 10 times worse.
Courts are going about this case similar to how they went about tobacco outlaws in years previous. Students have to question if this will lead to the same kind of downfall.
I think eventually, you say that, but when they did outlaw it to a certain age, there was definitely pushback at the certain moment. And I think the exact same thing will happen. There'll be pushback, and then in the several decades, we'll see the effect of, oh, it's unpopular now.
It kind of depends, to be honest. Like, it's hard to put into words of how other people will perceive it as well, because I personally think sometimes social media is good, because I feel like that's where a lot of people get information from, but also social media can be bad for that as well, because a lot of misinformation and stuff.
And I feel like social media is like, once again, so prevalent in our society. It's like the biggest way to stay social, like across like everyone. So I can't like imagine another like form or like media that would replace that, which would cause this downfall, because like right now social media is like the only like thing that's like, it has like a like monopoly on like socializing across like continents and stuff like that.
I mean, it's about to say I hope so. Like, I think that social media is really important and it helps freedom and creativity, but I think it does need to be limited, and I think that starts with the people who control it. And okay, well then Meta and the people who control algorithm and ads and things that have to do with big corporations that needs to be controlled. So.
And if social media does receive a legal cause to change the way they're developed, do they think it's necessary?
Definitely. I 100% think so. Yeah.
Honestly, yes, I think it is a necessary thing to like adjust how their algorithm is and like what people are able to post, how people are able to post, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, like sometimes when I'm scrolling on TikTok, like it will just like scroll for me before I'm like even done with the video, and like I don't even notice. I just like keep scrolling, and like TikTok, well, I'm pretty sure it's like TikTok and Instagram both have that thing where it's like, hey, like stop scrolling, where it's like that random person that comes up that tells you you've been here like for an hour or something. And I feel like that does like a lot.
Yeah, I do, because I just feel like I remember a time when maybe that wasn't the main driving factor for social media. And unfortunately, I mean, as someone who like puts themselves into the content creation like realm, I think that that is such a thing to where now everything about social media has to be profitable. Everything, algorithm, ads, like everything you click, you look, you view for X amount of minutes. And I just remember when that wasn't a thing, and that's when it was more enjoyable.
No matter the outcome of these cases, people still have ideas or concerns that need to be solved surrounding social media.
I think social media is pretty negative, and I'm trying to back away from social media as much as I can. But the reason that I'm not taking everything and deleting it all is the connection you have with friends and how necessary that is for humans to have. And so it's balancing that there still needs to be that availability for connection that phones give us, but there needs to be a cut of the rest of it.
So I feel like if there was a way to like first like attack that like issue of mental health problems, then that would be good. Also, I feel like separating like people from like getting social media from when they're so young, because they already have like people under 13 can't be on social media, but people can just like lie. People do lie. So like people who are like 6 years old are like on Instagram posting reels, and people who are 6 years old should not be on Instagram posting reels. So I think if there's like a way to combat like young people being on social media, they should like solve that.
Yes, I don't know if you've seen this, but you know how Australia, I think, has passed a ban on social media. And like that sounds really crazy, and I understand that, but I also think that when kind of like the way they're going about it with the tobacco and things like that, but when you see the proven effects, how can you really be against it? Like if it's saving people's lives or saving their mental health, and that's something that's argued so heavily, like we have all these crazy things happen in the US, and people be like, well, it's a mental health problem. Okay, well, what are we doing for mental health? Because like I think that kind of falls within that category, and if it needs to happen, it needs to happen.
Sticking with the national news, while inflation has stalled in some sectors of the economy, prices for everyday purchases remain high. And in these smaller price point pressures that teenagers find are putting pressure on their wallets.
Okay, so for starters, I work in the fast food industry. I work at Taco Bell. I've been there for 2 years now, and just being able to work in the cashier side of it, you see how much people are paying for their food at Taco Bell, and we get $10 as an employee. That's been the same since 2015. It does not get as much as it used to, and people aren't able to get as much food today as they were when I started 2 years ago.
Definitely, just like any fast food or gas station, I feel like the taxes skyrocketed since like I first started driving.
Mainly food. Like eggs, bread have been going up in price for like forever now. They were like 97 cents back in like the 1980s, and they went up by like $10 in like the past 20 years, past 40 years.
Students have had to worry if they have to make changes to their spending life, or they already have.
In terms of budgeting, absolutely, in order to afford necessities, because with high schoolers, afterwards, you're either going into the workforce, going into school. That's pretty much the only two options. They can be broadened out, sure, but there's a lot of expenses associated with going to college, and it's a stereotype that broke college students, sure. But that's a real issue in today's society, where college students aren't able to afford food outside of the campus meal plans, thank God they have those, and aren't able to afford those basic dorm necessities.
I have, yeah. I used to be able to just save a little bit and then spend a lot, but now that prices are going up and car insurance skyrocketed, I gotta save more. And in my future, I will be saving a lot more too.
Very much so. I have to start saving up as much as I can now to be able to afford things later.
On the first of this year, minimum wage rose to $15 an hour in Missouri. Students' opinions on this vary.
$15 an hour, I think it's a good place to start. In the state of Missouri, I really like where we're heading specifically as a state when compared to our neighbors. I just hope that we can find some sort of national standard.
I personally don't like it because it forces jobs to cut hours and to like only keep people who are well learned at their jobs, and it also is eventually going to make all the city taxes really high and houses really expensive.
I personally am not like the biggest fan of it, mainly because the people that are already making 15 an hour, they're already working their butts off to make that much money, and it's being raised up to that amount, and not a lot of people are getting raises from that $15 an hour.
It's more than just personal effects. Students are seeing how this is affecting the world around them.
Food, housing is exploding. My folks, we've been looking for a house for quite some time. It's not been able to happen, and I've got some friends in Colorado, family trying to move out of there, and they can't sell a house because it's too expensive. No one can afford it.
I think it's definitely causing people to not go into poverty, but a lot more people like fall into the lower class, even if they were high or middle class.
Like housing, definitely. Trying to afford a house in this society back whenever, like I said, the 1980s, you can buy a house for $20,000 and you can still live in that today and it would be just fine. Nowadays, it's $100,000 to $200,000 to buy just a basic house.
Students deal with this differently than an adult might. Here's how.
It's future planning. Okay, an adult would be living in the moment, living with that change. Now I'm going to have to look at my outlook for my future, my career, my life goals, and see that lens of, okay, is this sustainable? Can we make it work through these skyrocketing prices?
My point of view, I'm going to college next year, and after I go to college, I'll have to buy a house, and I know probably by then it's going to be a lot more money. And with not making a lot of money in college, it's going to be hard to transition from free housing to paying a lot for an apartment or a house.
Because most adults nowadays, they have their stuff set. For me, I have to start setting up now since I'm moving out of high school.
With registration season in full swing, some high schoolers went to the middle school to help promote activities they can participate in next year. Lucy Bigham joins us now with more on that topic.
Last week, each activity and sport at Truman sent students to represent and show middle school students what high school has to offer. I caught up with some students and asked them what they were there to represent and what they had at their booth.
I was there for football. We had a helmet, we had our active roster, and we had a sign-up sheet just to get people's names who wanted to play next year.
Okay, so I went to the activities fair for HOSA, which is a medical club we have here. And then in the booth, we had a trifold. HOSA has a tablecloth that says HOSA on it. And then we brought a stethoscope, a blood pressure cuff, and then a diagram that they build in human body systems.
I was there for the Truman Theater department, and we had a big old sign which had just a bunch of pictures from different productions backstage and on stage. We had a couple costume pieces, a tie and a scarf, and then we also had a mannequin head with a wig on it.
Working with middle school students can be tough, especially when trying to educate them about the large selection of activities and clubs. However, for our students, it was a breeze.
I think so, for sure, just to get to the younger people and just get their opinions, hear them out, just show them what we're about at Truman, even though we didn't have a great season, just that they can maybe come turn it around.
I think they went pretty well. I mean, we got a lot of signatures of kids that wanted to be there. Definitely, there could have been more kids, but we did have candy, so that's how we kind of lured some of them in. But overall, it went pretty well.
I think it went really well. We actually got a lot of people from both girls and guys, which is really surprising, so that was really exciting.
Recruiting younger students for a program is always a crucial part of a good program, and events like this are especially important.
I think I do because when I was younger, when older people were talking to me and telling me about stuff, it kind of sparked my interest. So I think it's good that as seniors, which was what we were, we went down and talked to younger kids, and I think that's going to make them want to play next year more.
I think definitely it did help, just because I learned about HOSA only when I was a sophomore, and I had Miss Barchers in my class. That was the only reason I knew about what it was. So I think definitely got some kids exposed to it at least.
Oh, for sure. We need to make sure that our middle schoolers are actually interested in what they're doing and giving them the chance to meet people who have already done it and get the chance to like experience it with them a little is so important.
Finally, just how many students were genuinely interested in what Truman High School has to offer?
We got like 50-something signatures, so I think it went very well. So I think next year that's like a good look for our program, just that we're going to get a lot of people that come in and play.
Yeah, we had about like 70 signatures in the end, so we got more than most got, just because we were also like in the very front, though, I would say.
Yes, a lot of them were super duper excited and they were pretty interested. Some of them were just like, I don't really know what that is, and then I got them actually interested to join the tech side, which is cool.
One activity they could join next year is Winter Guard, who are in the middle of their competition season. And reporter Madison Lebs joins us now to see how that's going.
Next Saturday, Truman High School Winter Guard will compete in their first competition. The team has spent weeks preparing for long rehearsals and hard work. The upcoming competition marks an important moment for the group. This is what they had to say.
Because yes, I've done it before, but it's still nerve-wracking being in front of people. Yes, a lot. I don't think we're gonna get first because our show's probably not gonna be done, but at least top 5. Yeah, cause Guard's like a family, so you meet friends, you meet people that you could connect with more.
I guess I'm excited for it, but I guess I'm excited for it, obviously, but just Guard in general has just not been the greatest. Finally being able to perform, because I like during Winter Guard that the focus is on the Guard and that they actually celebrate when we catch something or do a bunch of movement that looks good. I do like the show that we have. I feel like it has a lot more potential to be a lot better, because there's definitely yes, there's novice on the team, but I think that Guard could definitely be pushed more in a direction of more advanced, because I feel like the reason that the Guard doesn't do the greatest is because we aren't as advanced as other people in our class.
Speaking of winter, the temperatures have dropped into a deep freeze over the last 2 weekends.
And those temperatures meant it was cold enough for the annual Polar Plunge event.
Student Council once again participated in the annual Special Olympics Polar Plunge. I had the chance to speak with 2 of the participants to see why this is important to them.
It's important to me because I view our special education students as part of our student population, so giving them the chance to do the sports that they want to, and I've talked with a lot of the students, and they love doing the sports, and the fact that we get to help fund that by doing activities like Polar Plunge, that just really makes me happy, because they're just such nice kids and they're so awesome to be around, and I always recommend hanging out with them.
It's important because just the opportunity for our athletes or for our special education students to participate in athletic stuff that they can't normally participate in that's a really good opportunity for them, and raising money for that is just always fun to do because it's a great cause.
Temperatures growing colder, students felt their hearts growing warmer.
It feels really great. It really does. Because I feel like you always see other activities like choir, they sell their chocolate, but we don't see a lot of that from our Special Olympics athletes. So knowing that we can do something to help them is really great to me.
Well, they warm me up.
It's more than just jumping into a lake. It is about coming together to make a difference.
I would say just do it. It was really cold, I will say that. I wore flip-flops, which wasn't a good choice. My toes were really numb. However, it was just 30 seconds in the water and then you're out and everyone was cheering for you. We got free food, we got a sweatshirt, and I got socks. It's awesome. And besides just the materialistic things you get, just the feeling that you participated in something like that, it's just awesome.
It only takes 30 seconds and it's worth it because you're warm up right after, so it's okay.
That wraps up another episode of ISD Weekly.
Make sure to join us next time for more coverage around the district.